They say that the further you go out of your comfort zone, the more you learn about the world around you. The more you venture outside your home, the more you understand how the world is everyone's home. It is therefore our choice to continue in this journey and learn what others live through as students from a different background. This is Pondok Pesantren Amanah Muhammadiyah, an Islamic boarding school located in Tasikmalaya. Built in 1998, it is not only meant as a place to teach, but also as a place for students to live. Such is the nature of a Pondok Pesantren, or boarding school in English. Pondok Pesantren Amanah Muhammadiyah was founded as an educational institution and owned by the Tasikmalaya Muhammadiyah Union, made to deliver proper education, both generally and spiritually, to students. It was with the collective efforts of the union that the boarding school was built, in hopes of it becoming a fortress for nurturing young Muslims with solid spiritual education, as well as the ability to use both their knowledge and technology in the real world. Being a boarding school, Amanah Muhammadiyah has very distinct rules that differentiate it from other schools, such as living on school grounds, no phones policy, and a very, very strict separation living grounds for boys and girls. Here, they will learn how to live and coexist with each other, living under the same roof for much of their high school years, and eventually growing stronger bond with each other. Without their phones, students study to do everything productively and to waste no time in playing around. Surprisingly, most of them have already gotten used to this. Naturally, focusing on Islam, Amanah Muhammadiyah heavily emphasizes on the teaching of Islamic faith and its beliefs in everyday life. This is enforced in the students' punctual daily schedule, which includes multiple visits to the school's very own mosque that, although seems unfinished, still allows for students to listen to the teachings of the many Ustad and Ustazah. Even so, how are the students keeping up with the outside world? And how do they interact with people of other religions? To find out, our team went to Pondok Pesantren Amanah Muhammadiyah to answer these questions and many, many more. The trip to Amanah Muhammadiyah Islamic boarding school was estimated to take around 6 hours, but the inability to use phones made this trip much harder than it needed to be. Little did we know, the students over at Amanah Muhammadiyah had to do this every single day. Arriving at the school at around 1:30 p.m., we were then guided into our own room, which was a carpeted hall, usually meant for guests to stay in. Afterwards, we went into an auditorium where the headmaster gave a welcoming speech before announcing the start of the excursion. We were then shown around the school by the boarding school's equivalent of 12th grade students, the IPM, otherwise known as the Muhammadiyah Student Association. We were astounded by the difference in school dynamics, particularly the separation of boys and girls, as Canisius College did not have any girls on the school. As we continued into the mosque, most of us were astonished with the intricacies and attention to detail put into its interior. Arabic phrases were etched into the inside of the dome, with marble walls and ceramic tiling to accompany it. In the middle, a single chandelier illuminated the room, alongside multiple hidden lights from the surrounding ceiling. We arrived back at our room and tidied up our belongings after the tour. Before long, we went back outside to join the students' extracurricular activities. Every student had their own daily activities, ranging from guitar to archery, with all extracurriculars happening precisely between 4 to 5 p.m. We each went our own ways, finding extracurriculars that best suit our interests. We all prepared for the evening, including wearing a long-sleeve shirt, sarung, and peci. With that, we headed towards the dining area and we took a plate of rice and chicken soup. Everyone had to sit on the floor while eating, inside of a wooden structure built atop a pool of water. We realized that this was a very important time to take in the dish that we had on our plates, all without the distraction of our phones. The mosque was filled with students completing their daily evening prayers. After we arrived, all of them quickly left with the exception of the grade 12 students, who stayed in the middle left area while we sat by the right, still wary of our seating position. A couple of students from Pesantren Amanah Muhammadiyah were chosen to sit at the front, right next to our supervisor and the ustad respectively. We were meant to discuss our respective schools and our dynamics. We split into smaller groups consisting of students from both schools, holding discussions on a more personal level. By the time we had finished our discussions, curfew had rolled around, which was about 9:45 p.m., and the day ended with a personal reflection before we went to rest.
Selamat sore semuanya. Ini gue sama anak-anak pesantren. Ya, perkenalkan, nama saya Muhammad Al-Pesantren.
Saya PM Barong, tapi Nugraha.
Oke, nama gue Haris dan gue mau interview mereka berdua. Nah, ini gue mau nanya simpel-simpelnya nih. Mulai dari kiri apa kanan nih? Kanan.
Sana bebas.
Kanan.
Kanan dulu.
Kanan, oke.
Ya.
Dari kanan nih. Gue mau nanya ke lu. Lu udah berapa tahun sih di pesantren Amanah ini?
Sudah 5 tahun.
Oh, lu berarti SMP-nya
SMP di
kelas
sini.
8?
Ya, kelas 7 dari sini.
Oh, kelas 7. Kalau lu?
Sama.
Lu jangan jauh-jauh.
Sama 6 tahun.
Oh, 5 tahun.
Ya.
Oke, gue
Pernah
mau nanya
banget sini,
nih.
Pak.
Pertanyaan selanjutnya nih. Apa sih yang ngebedain? Kemarin kan SD berarti bukan di pesantren ya? SD biasa ya?
Negeri.
Nah, apa yang ngebedain dari SD sama pesantren sekarang? Paling beda dah.
Pelajaran.
Kenapa tuh pelajarannya?
Pelajarannya tuh lebih rumit di SMA.
Oh iya, jelas dong ya kan. Terus kalau tempat tinggal kan dulu bisa sama nyokap bokap.
Ya,
Sekarang kan nggak bisa kan? Nah itu gimana tuh perasaannya?
ya, kadang ada sedihnya.
Risetnya. Kalau?
Ya lebih ke keseharian lah. Jadi lebih beda.
Oh,
Nah, kita di sini dididik untuk mandiri lah.
Tidak manja-manja.
oh mandiri tuh. Nah itu sekolah-sekolah biasa tuh ya, tolong ya. Nih sama gue nanya nih, sekali lagi nih. Kan sekolah gua kan boleh bawa HP.
Ya.
Nah kalau lu pada kan nggak boleh nyentuh HP sekali gitu. Nah tuh jujur ada merasa kudet atau kesel gitu nggak sih nggak boleh
Kudet
HP?
pasti ada.
Kudet pasti ada.
Pasti ada.
Kesel?
Kesel ya ada lah.
Banget itu kalau
Kesel banget.
Jadi kalau misalnya nggak, kalau gua kan nyampe rumah main HP,
Ya.
tiktokan, IG-an. Nah kalau lu pada ngapain?
Ya,
kegiatan gini aja.
Begini aja. Jadi main basket gitu ya.
Basket.
Oh berarti lebih sehat dong?
Ya,
Oh.
Lebih produktif bahasanya apa?
Lebih produktif gitu
Ya.
ya. Nih satu pertanyaan terakhir deh. Menurut lu pada apa sih itu pentingnya toleransi dalam beragama?
toleransi dalam beragama ya lebih penting. Soalnya kalau tidak bertoleransi ya tidak baik juga lah. Lebih ya tidak toleransi.
Oh tidak toleransi.
Ya tidak baik.
Tidak baik.
Ya, soalnya kalau nggak toleransi ya Indonesia mau maju gimana? Karena sama-sama berjuang.
Berarti harus toleransi ya,
Ya,
berarti ya.
ya.
Kalau
Biar toleransi, agar kita semua bersatu lah, gak ada sekat perbedaan.
dengan data Indonesia ya.
Bahwasanya ya sesuai slogan negara kita gitu.
Ya, kita semua harus bersatu ya guys. Selamat sore semuanya.
The sun rose quickly right after 5:30 a.m., waking us up. The cool morning breeze is unlike the stifling air that is prevalent in Jakarta. Even though Amanah Muhammadiyah is in the city, the view of the rice fields and nearby forests helped freshen ourselves as we continued looking around. It was breakfast time for the students, and while some of us went to the dining area, some went outside school. At 7 a.m., we had to hop on the back of the truck alongside the grade 12 students in another. This was our next activity, hiking up Mount Galunggung. We truly felt the cold persistent winds blowing through us even though we were still in the city. As we went up the foot of the mountain, there used to be bustling streets now filled only with the rumbling of the trucks bringing us to the top of Mount Galunggung. We arrived at the last part of the hike, the stairs. A quick picture later, and we began to complete the flight of stairs one step at a time. The stairs were the last part of the journey up the mountain, also serving as a test of endurance. Eventually, we all arrived up the mountain. The views on top of Mount Galunggung was something that Canadians rarely see, yet it was a commonality for many students at Amanah Muhammadiyah. They say that oftentimes they come here just to hang out with their friends. Looking down from the mountain, a large basin of water yawns at us. Some of us threw rocks afar, hoping that it would splash. Unfortunately, this day wasn't the one. Going down Mount Galunggung was noticeably easier than going up it. Even then, our legs were shaking from the steps. After a short ride down the mountain, we arrived at the famed Cipanas Galunggung mountain crater. This place is a resort consisting of a number of pools, all filled with water that comes and it's heated by the mountain itself. The majority of students stayed in the public area of the pool, while some decided to explore around the other parts of the resort. Before going back to the school, we went to a restaurant for lunch. As many people as we were, we had to sit cross-legged and eat at the same table, in a manner known as lasehan. The food we had was rice with a side of fish, fried tempeh, and tofu. Right after eating, we went back to our trucks and made our way back to the boarding school. We rested up for a long while before continuing our activities.
Yo, what up, guys? We're currently in Damanggung Mountain. We had a crazy walk here. How do you feel today?
It's so... I think we so...
Grateful.
Yes, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
How
about
think
you?
It's cold here?
Yes, it's so cold.
It's really cold, right?
Yes, it's very cold.
Very cold. Yeah.
But personally, how do you feel about living in Tasikmalaya? Like
I think in Tasikmalaya so different in my house. My house in Ciamis, you know Ciamis?
Ciamis, oh yeah, I know that.
Ciamis. I think in Ciamis like my house in like mountain in dekat mountain. Dekat
near the
gunung.
mountain.
Mountain. Usually I kebiasaan. My habit lah, the habit.
I see. Oh, so you're used to the cold.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Have you guys ever been to Jakarta?
I have been like 2 times, but it's like when I was chill.
So it's a long time ago.
Yeah. So
What is the most different thing from Jakarta and this place?
The most different thing is, of course, the weather.
In
In Jakarta, it's so
very hot. It's very hot. Yeah.
but in here, it's so cold.
I see.
How about same as like the same.
Oh, okay. I think that's all from us. Let's continue the journey.
Okay.
Let's go.
Afternoon at Amanah Muhammadiyah is always lively. We quickly found ourselves using ourselves with martial arts right before 5 p.m. train. Afterwards, the setting sun continued to glaze over the school, whilst everyone went back to prepare for the evening. As evening came quickly, so too were the Canadians at preparing their clothing after learning how to use the saddle effectively the day before. The food served during the evening was that of rice, stir-fried kway teow, and beef tongseng. Sitting in the dining area once more, we found ourselves more familiar with what the students ate every day, and further did we appreciate the time we spent together. The students from the lower grades filled the mosque. A few of the grade 12 students wore blue-orange jackets. We had to split into multiple groups and were assigned a grade to teach both English and Arabic. More than a weekly activity for students of Amanah Muhammadiyah, this was an opportunity for clinicians to share their experiences with students with different understandings of the world around them. As a result, both the students of Amanah Muhammadiyah and Canisius learned more about each other. Afterwards, both schools held a musical performance to celebrate the collaboration between Amanah Muhammadiyah and Canisius College. We played songs such as Die With A Smile by Bruno Mars and Bertahun by Nadine Amizah, with musicians and singers from both schools. Eventually, everything drew to a close, but not before memorializing some memories in pictures.
Okay, hi, my name is Luis, and I am now here with Yusti. Okay, so Yusti, I would like to ask you some questions. The first one, what has been your experience here from with the time you've been here?
In here, I can speak with English language, Arabic language, and I can know about the fiqh of Islamic and many more. And I can know about the Islam in the Nusantara.
Okay, now my second question is, do you miss your family?
Of course, I miss so much my family because my family so far away from here. My family lives in Ciawi, so far away from the boarding school.
Okay. And for my third question, what is your experience from us coming here to your boarding school? How do you feel with us coming here?
I'm so happy for the coming, and I wish we can meet in the other day. Yes. And thank you so much for all of you has come to boarding school.
Okay. And from us, we would also like to say thank you too for accepting us into your boarding school. So thank you.
The weather was cloudy at 6 a.m. in the morning. Everyone was doing their best to get themselves for the day ahead. For the Canisians, this was the last day of activities here in Amanah Muhammadiyah. They took the time to pack everything they needed before going out for breakfast. This time was a plate of rice and chapchai. We took one last look at the surroundings near the school, and it was the last look we had at the beauty of the school, which had become so dear to us. Before we departed back to our school, Amanah Muhammadiyah prepared a departure ceremony. It was a moment to thank Canisius College for their participation in this activity and apologize for any inconveniences. Yet it was also a moment for us to do the same for them. The time we have spent in the last 3 days in Amanah Muhammadiyah was an important lesson for all of us who attended, and although some wanted to stay for longer, we all had to part ways. At the end, we had to say our goodbyes and leave for the journey back home.
There's an Indonesian saying that goes, know not, then love not. It is to say that to be friends with someone is to know them first. For the past 3 days, we have learned what school life is like for other people, not just in different cities, but also in different religions. Amanah Muhammadiyah Islamic Boarding School is just one of many schools that keep students within the boundaries of their institution. Many might assume that this is too limiting for them, but it ends up leading to stronger friendships between students and the many staff that work there. It is important to know, too, that the lack of interaction with this outside world does not make them apathetic to other beliefs and cultures, but instead makes them curious and accepting to them. We chose to go on this journey because we want to learn from those who follow different paths in their lives. We came back with the truth that those who are different from us do not shy away from that difference, but embrace and cherish our existence, no matter who we came from or who we are made to be.